Petrol consider NNPCL franchise suspension. Let's read the story in itself first of all before we start debating. NNPCL was the one hold on, I'm sorry, I started reading from the center. Some oil marketers are beginning to change the logo of the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited on their filling stations as the dealers dump the franchise deal with NNPCL due to the stiff competition in their prices of refined products in the downstream arm of the oil sector. It was gathered that many others are considering the move, particularly those in Lagos, following the recent crash in prices of refined products at the Lekki-based Dangote Petroleum Refinery. Already, some dealers that used to have the NNPCL logo on their filling stations located around Wawa on the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, as well as Ibafo, still along the busy road, have dropped the name of the national oil firms. Independent marketers are seeking to achieve adequate product offtake at a cheaper rate as the deregulation of the downstream oil sector has led to intense competition. It was also learned that more marketers may relinquish their license with NNPCL due to reduced loading cost of premium motor spirit by Dangote refinery, which is currently lower than the landing cost of imported petrol. Fuad, you know when Yorubas decided to put that little metaphor, Oweku, I feel like they knew what they were doing. You know, when there's like a practical representation of a metaphor or a proverb. So here's the thing, for those of you who probably do not understand what's going on. A few days ago, Dangote had crashed his price from 950 naira per liter to 890 naira to a liter. Already that sent panic through marketers who had decided to import the product into the country because Dangote's product was now cheaper than theirs. And the reason they imported, or the reason they gave us as to why they imported, was that imported product was cheaper than Dangote. Then Dangote lets them import, goes on ahead to crash his price. Now we have marketers who are now relinquishing their licenses to NNPCL. They want to be with Dangote. They've changed the NNPCL logo on their filling station. They are no longer acting as subsidiaries or anything like that. They are now going to Dangote. They are hoping to get cheaper products from Dangote. They started renaming their filling station MRS, amongst other things. As you know, Dangote has an arrangement with MRS and I believe Andover. They get product directly from him. Now, marketers have started to abandon the NNPCL and they're moving to Dangote. Experts are predicting that this might, spark something of a stiff competition, which will continue to see the price of the product reduce. Fuad, what do you make of this?
Well, let me first address the last part of what you have just said, because again, what you have is a marginal reduction. I don't know where the idea of a crash in price has come into the story. Probably the marginal reduction in price. Again, you talk about crash if you consider where we were coming from, moving around 890, 900, 920, 925, 950, depending on where you're buying the product from. And then you talk about the crash in price. There's nothing that has been crashed here. So I think it's just very important that, again, in writing our stories, we don't over-sensationalize it. I understand sometimes as, media, so I understand how we get excited using the wrong words to describe a completely different situation at the right. Just last week, we were talking about a story that said that, look, marketers may be dumping Dangote for NNPCL, right? Now this week, we are talking about marketers who may be dumping, who have started to even dump the NNPCL for Dangote. A lot of the NNPCL filling stations run on franchise.
Yes.
So you find the logo of the NNPCL on those petrol stations. If they are not directly owned by the NNPCL, the information we are even getting is that, look, they run on some form of franchise. So with the franchise, they are able to easily access products directly from the NNPCL at a reasonable cost, unlike those that are not registered with the NNPCL. Although some stories have told us in the past that the NNPCL in itself was acquiring some filling stations, buying more petrol stations. And so you have a situation where the NNPCL was.
Hello, Fuad. Okay, I think we have a little bit of a problem. Let's reconnect with Fuad. Fuad,
can you hear me?
We were unable to hear you for, say, 10 seconds.
Okay, so what I'm saying is that, look, on the surface, this looks like a competition, a healthy competition, right?
Yes.
And it's probably going to align with what the government has been telling us, that, with competition, we might begin to see a natural reduction a healthy reduction or a more transparent reduction in the price of petroleum products. Dangote's reduction in price at this time, as they clearly explained, says that look, they are doing it because again, there's a marginal drop in the price of crude in the global market. And so basically what they are doing is a response to that pricing situation when it comes to the price of crude in the global market. The second one, which has not been said, but which looks like also a strategy from the Dangote refinery, is that look, it's a sort of competition. They're also looking at one situation where there's no way you would have invested over $20 billion in such a company and you see it fold up. So I see a man who is just doing everything humanly possible, strategically possible, to remain in business. Tinker with prices here and there. There's been an existing contract or arrangement between Dangote and MRS, and I think hand over filling stations to ensure that look, at least that is they're able to sell their product locally in those filling stations. So other marketers, if they want to buy, they can buy. If they don't want to buy, they go elsewhere. So if you're able, because if not, obviously the Dango are willing to buy, and then if there are marketers who also approach it, they approach it. In the same story, say you can see that NNPCL is still massively importing petroleum products into this country. In that same story, it was written there that look, they are still massively importing petroleum products into this country. The question is this, and I think the reporter said that look, all efforts to speak with the PRO, the spokesperson of NNPCL, proved about it. The question is, what exactly is going on at the Port Harcourt and Warri refinery? See, what exactly is going on there? They are busy showing us a documentary, or I don't know what to call it, of how they were able to revive the Port Harcourt refinery. And I say that was a useless information to Nigeria. If you have said it has started working, you did a media talk. That's enough. What Nigerians are interested in at this time now is that look, this is the product that we have been loading out. This is the liters of petroleum products we have been able to refine at so period. These are where the products are available. We are selling at this price. But you are still busy showing us a documentary of how you revive the refinery that has suddenly gone quiet. The operations have gotten quiet. It's opaque. We don't have any more information as to what exactly is going on there. Whereas the information we are getting is that you are still importing. How are you able to revive two of your refineries, even if they are working at 50% capacity? And there are no clear information as to whether you are now refining there the products. It would be nice to even see where those products are being sold. Oh, in these filling stations, in these locations in Nigeria, even if it's just in the south, say that look, these are the products of Port Harcourt refinery, whether it's AGO, diesel, or whatever it is, that are being sold, and this is the price. It would also be nice to know from them how they are getting the feedstock for the Port Harcourt and Warri refinery. Or they are also importing crude, like Dangote, or they are able to get crude locally. Because in one of the reports in Guardian newspaper saying this morning, yesterday we got the report that the NNPC, the regulator, the upstream regulator, has banned the diversion of the 500,000 barrels crude oil that's supposed to be for local consumption from being exported.
Yes.
The question is, do we have to get to a point of a ban? Who do we hold responsible? If there was a presidential directive that look, what should be for local consumption should be reserved for local consumption, people are taking it out. Who should be held responsible? Who should be punished? Because if it had been done without any consequence, even the ban at this time will not change anything. Because we have this level of impunity in the oil sector. So, again, like the late MK Abiola said, it's layers and layers of unnecessary confusion, layers and layers of opaqueness. And whether you like it or not, it's because the people in this sector are hell-bent on ensuring that we don't do the right thing. They've enjoyed, the corruption in the system. They've enjoyed the wobble structure in the system, and they want the status quo to remain. The NNPCL today is still importing petroleum products into the country. Doesn't that sound strange to you?
Well, this is the shift that we've currently seen within the oil sector. Marketers are now deciding to patronize Dangote refinery, seen as his commodity is way.
So tomorrow they will start again. We will hear that they have started patronizing them.
If the NNPCL offers cheaper prices, then they go to the NNPCL. I mean, that's what competition is, right?
But say what should be a healthy competition? We like the competition.
Yeah, local production.
We don't like the price.
Yes. It should be local production against local production, not local production.
So why are we having imported product competing against local? Because again, the reason why we're importing was because we had no refineries to produce what we needed locally. We now have a refinery that can do that. They also have two, as other smaller modular refineries. So why are we still importing? And anybody in the NNPCL, if the spokesperson has suddenly gone quiet, can they explain to us why they are still importing petroleum products into this country?
Well, all efforts to reach him, just like you highlighted, according to the Punch, is proven abortive. He's been contacted, but he has not said anything about all the questions that have been asked. That story is on page 29 of the Punch newspaper. Now, let's have a conversation about the power tariff. Government releases power tariff hike guidelines for discos. Now, as controversies trailed the purported electricity tariff hike by the federal government, the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission has issued regulations on the procedure for tariff review. So they've stressed that the multi-year tariff order methodology would provide for a major review of electricity tariff every 5 years, during which all tariff assumptions are reviewed to ensure the industry's viability and efficiency. So every 5 years, they would review the power tariff, but they would do so first by checking what the industry's viability and efficiency is in that moment. Also, the Commission would 1 year before the expiration of the major tariff review order in force or of the existing tariff. So there will be a 1 year notification to all the licensees before any review is done. Now, it would also be posted on the individual website of these licensees, where public discourse would be allowed. People would be able to react to the price increase or review, whatever the case may be, or decrease if that's possible, and then they would take the audit to the review before they finally reach a decision. Now, there would be little reviews that go on every 6 months as well, but they would not do anything without getting feedback from the public, amongst many other procedures for the power tariff. So Fuad, there you have it. The complaint was that they make decisions without necessarily consulting, right, the users and even stakeholders within the power sector. So they've decided to draw up a procedure. Every 5 years we would review it, but then we have to look at the market viability and efficiency before we do so. And before anything is done, at least a 1 year notice to all the licensees would also create an opportunity for the prices to be posted up, such that people can actually see it, debate on it, debate on it, and then they take public feedback and then use that for a second review amongst the many other processes that will be instituted for every time there's a need for a power tariff hike, especially for the discos. What?
All right, see, brilliant. The NEC has issued these as guidelines to what is supposed to be a periodic review of electricity tariff in Nigeria. If my English is serves me right this morning, if I'm able to get my English right this morning, does a review necessarily mean that it has to go up?
Yeah, well, it could be a downward review.
I'm just saying. Have you ever seen anything downward? Anything reviewed in Nigeria? Especially the power sector. Then the idea of a review is that it has to be jacked up. And if you read the story very well, say the first part of what, and they deliberately did it. I don't know whether it is the writer or the way the press release was given, or the way the statement was issued out. They kept talking about a major review, which would happen every 5 years, and the modalities and the procedure. Then later the review, it could happen every month. So what are we talking about here? So at the end of the day, there's an opportunity to either review every 5 years. It could be a 6-month thing, and it could be a monthly thing. So you could wake up next month now.
Market, according to them, depending on what's going on in the market.
Okay, what exactly are they talking about in the market? As they explained it, I think they talked about the cost of producing energy, right?
Yes.
Which probably will be about gas supply and some other things. And they also talked about foreign exchange. And so if anything happens at that level, there could be an opportunity for a minor review that could happen every month. See, so if the indices as to why they should be able to detail out how they arrived at this cost-effective tariff, see, I mean, as up to today, up to this morning, I'm still asking the same question. Can the NEC and the people in the power sector give us a detailed explanation of how they have arrived at the so-called cost-effective tariff that bad customers are paying? See, and in that we cannot, because it's not just enough to tell us that, oh, there will be need for a review. The question is, the so-called argument about the cost-effective tariff, how did we even arrive at that calculation? in the entire power sector value chain, what exactly, how much is gas? Who is buying gas? Who is selling it? At how much are they selling it? How much power is being produced? How much are they selling power from the generation to transmission to the discos? And who is paying who? Who are the operators? At what price? Let's have a transparent discussion about this. Until we have an open conversation about this whole thing looks like a scam. And unfortunately, it's a sector that cannot be concerned the average Nigerian, because whatever happens at the power sector, just like the petroleum sector, affects everybody. And so you have a regulator too that should be thinking about the interest of the end users, but it's always aligning with the operators. And that's why I ask that, look, if you look at the tone, the thinking, the philosophy by this thing that they've issued now, it's upward review. In their mind, everything about review should be upward. And then we ask, who is going to save ordinary Nigerians from the hands of these people? I saw a press release yesterday. Was it a press or a notice? On the social media handle of IEKDC, Tğᴇ. And basically, they were just apologizing to band 8 customers of some locations in Lagos for failing to provide 20 hours power supply to them. They listed about maybe 7 or 8 locations, and it was just, we are sorry. In those locations now, if those guys are not metered, if they are not on prepaid meter, you know that on estimated billing, they will still bill them as if they are supplying power to them. So between a cost-effective tariff and a service-effective tariff, what should we be talking about now at this point? Don't you think a service-effective tariff will force these schools to do the right thing? People have been saying that, look, give people prepaid meters. If you give people prepaid meters, you'll be forced to do the right thing. You'll be forced to provide adequate services. But here you are, we still have 7 million Nigerians who are unmetered, who still receive estimated billing. And for estimated billing sake, it is the craziest thing that has ever happened in Nigeria at this time. If you know what people are going through and what is called estimated bill, you know, we also had the same situation recently. This seems to be ready to save us. Every time the people of government, the officials of government talk, the only thing they are thinking about is how to raise more revenue, how Nigerians are going to pay more for electricity. And I think in their mind, Nigerians are not even paying enough. What exactly are we paying for? How are we arriving at this calculation? Nobody is answering us. See.
This is on page 29 of the Punch newspaper. You're still listening to Trends in the Papers on Mainland 98.3 FM. It's about 3 minutes past 8 a.m. here in the city of Lagos. We're reviewing the papers, specifically the Punch newspaper. I'm having conversations with Fᴜဃᴜ, who's with us virtually. Like I said, we're looking at the Punch newspaper, and we recently just had a conversation around the electricity tariff and all the guidelines that would most likely, usher in the new tariff that we would have to deal with all the many instances of forex, gas, and whatever that has been highlighted as the reason for the electricity. Fouad, callers are saying that they're unable to hear you. I don't know if this is from your end or this is a Facebook issue. But then thank you very much for drawing that to our attention. I hope the engineers can hear us, and if this is a in-house thing, they're able to rectify it. Anyways, let's move to other stories. Fouad, we have here Lagos Assembly may write Tinubu over Obasa, GAC members. The Punch tells us that lawmakers also gathered that Obasa may return to the House and be allowed to voluntarily resign as Speaker. These followed a marathon meeting held by members of the Governance Advisory Council at the Governor's Lounge in Marina, Lagos on Monday, where the decision was said to have been taken alongside the lawmakers. Now, the GAC members who spoke with Punch correspondents said the meeting continued on Tuesday, arguing for the opt-in time that Obasa's resolution, or at least according to the party. It had come out a few days ago that the president did mention that he did not stable, but highlight that. Now, this member of the GAC that was resign rather than be ousted, he would resign, but then again, Mrs. Mojisola Miranda will come honorably. That is the resolution they have come to, according to this report, and they intend to write the president to inform him of this decision. What?
Look at how strange that statement is. They want to write the president to inform him of what precisely?
The decision they made at that meeting. They've made a decision.
What's supposed to be the role of the What's supposed to be the role of the president? All of it.
Isn't that the party leader? Is that not what they call
as a party leader. So if they now write the president as a party leader, what will he do?
Just know now. You just know.
It's just for knowing.
You know.
If that's the truth, fine.
I don't know. I don't know.
You see, the problem is this. See, when we don't allow institutions to function properly, when we create institutions, but we create men that are bigger than the institution, or men that decide how the institution should function, this is what you get. You can see that for everything now, it's as if everybody is waiting for the president. Obasa has been, quote and unquote, according to different allegations, has been misbehaving for some time now, disrespecting the governor, disrespecting party leaders, excessively ambitious, blah, 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 and all of that. And they could not do anything to him from the reporting. And it was said that, look, it was when they reported him to the president that the GNC leaders, led by Prince Tajudeen Olusi, had reported him to the president when the president came for the Christmas holiday. And then the next thing we saw that, look, the House was able to now develop some strength to take decisive actions against it. Hence, he was impeached. Now the same story is coming back again, and everything looks as if he's stopping at the desk of the president again. He has to be the person to help them decide. I know the last time I asked you, I asked you this very simple question. If for any reason the president is not able to attend to politics of Lagos State within the APC, or the way they run it now, maybe he's too busy with national matters, he's busy somewhere doing something, I don't have time to attend to their problem in Lagos State. Can these people resolve issues among themselves without the influence of the president, the involvement of the president? Does it appear that the politicians in Lagos, under this APC, can solve their own problem, internal problem, without having to wait for the president? Even when the issue of commissioners, they were going to screen commissioners, you remember the back and forth, how names were being removed, added, until it was said that the president had to intervene, and they were all called to order. So everything still solves at the desk of the president, which is very unfortunate. See, okay, what of when the president is not available to help them attend to these matters? So the so-called, the last time when they were talking about the powers of the GS, I see when I see APC members, I just laugh, especially those ones in Lagos. When they talk about how influential, how powerful the GAC is, I just laugh. You know why? See,
why?
The GAC in Lagos is as powerful as the president wants them to be. Do you understand that one? The so-called power that has been arrogated, given to the GAC, from the first person to the last person of that group, is still dependent on how the president wants them to be powerful. Are you not saying in this story? See, if the GAC was part of the decision to remove Obasa and they have been removed, why is all of this ignorance and division again? Where is it coming from? To the extent now that
continue or he will continue to be our leader forever, end quotes, in part. So I'm just,
you continue to be the leader forever.
I'm just quoting what was said here in the report.
Forever.
It's a mindset thing. It's a mindset thing. For what if it doesn't matter?
It's a terrible mindset, because have you ever seen any leader that has left forever?
No, I mean, he can leave even when his tenure expires, right? But in their mind, he would always be their leader. Maybe that's what he's saying,
Okay. But what I'm saying, see, he can say what he's saying, even though I know what he's saying. And I still find it a bit ridiculous. But I'm saying that, too, on this matter, okay, look at what he's even saying. They should allow Obasa to return and resign voluntarily.
Yeah.
Must he resign? They say they removed him. 35 out of 40 remove somebody. You are saying he should come back. It's a Muraino, Abi. What did you call his name now?
Chief Taiwo. Right, yes.
Okay, it's Chief Muraino or Taiwo.
Taiwo.
So that they should allow it. Okay, so Obasa is what precisely? He's the god of Lagos State, or the owner of the assembly. Remember that, look, he was never elected the speaker in the first place. The people of Agege Constituency 1 elected him as a member of the State House of Assembly. And then out of all the members, they sat down. The people in the assembly chose him as their speaker. And if the people that chose him as the speaker are able to get 2/3 majority votes, and they got 1 and 2/3, and they say they are going to remove him. So what's the big deal with that? Is it the first time that will remove as speaker? Why is it so different? And then we continue. Where there are very important issues of development in Lagos State that we are supposed to be focused on. We are not talking about Obasa. Who is Obasa precisely? Is he council? And then he must hold the state down to the point now that they have to wait for the president to come and intervene. Do you see the kind of Amala politics, the Griadewebu politics we are playing? Even in Lagos, that's supposed to be the center of excellence, and example to others. One man show. And that's why I keep asking, let the leader from the APC come and tell me, if something happens tomorrow, the president is so busy or is so much away that they cannot attend to their matter in Lagos, can they among themselves now resolve their own issue, the way they are carrying themselves?
It's on page 22. Well, they will write to the president, or they might write to the president, and let's see the reaction or the response of. I don't think the president has necessarily said anything regarding the matter.
And do you believe that the president was not aware before this man was?
My personal opinion don't really matter, does it? But
I want to know it. I know. Maybe I knew before asking you now.
Yeah.
But do you think the president would not have been aware?
When you come to the office later, I'll talk about it. When you get here, we'll talk about it. Yeah.
You know what they call Amala politics? You don't know.
I do know what that is, but this is
that's the kind of politics we are playing in Lagos.
This is supposed to be an open and short thing, right? That's what I mean. It was supposed to be open and short.
But we've built two people who are too powerful. We've empowered them. They have a lot of money to throw around. They can manipulate the process. They decide how the process runs, and it becomes a caricature, some form of political tomfoolery. This is not the kind of democracy we are known for. I'm sorry. Some of us got Koboko, got tear gas for us to have this democracy in 1999. And look at where we are now, after 25 years. They should allow the speaker to come and resign by himself. In which constitution is that provided? The speaker cannot be removed. It can only be called back to come and resign. So they will give him a piece of paper. So what will now happen? After the Miranda has been sworn in as speaker, she will now leave again. Then Obasa will now sit down and say, I resign. What kind of useless politics is that?
It's on page 22 of the Punch newspaper. Well, speaking of writing letters, Fuad, PDP Secretary Wike Camp writes the Supreme Court ahead of Board of Trustee meeting. As the legal fireworks over the People Democratic Party National Secretary seat continues, Samuel Anyanwu, an ally of the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, has written to the Supreme Court demanding an accelerated hearing on the issue. In a letter dated 29th January and sent to the Supreme Court in Abuja, which was obtained by correspondence on Tuesday, Anyanwu formally requested an expedited hearing, emphasizing that the role of the National Secretary was crucial for the PDP, which had been immersed in crisis in recent times. The main opposition party leadership crisis had intensified in 2023 when the PDP Southeast Zone nominated Sunday Ude Okoye to replace Anyanwu, who contested the Imo governorship election. So far, the appeal court issued a restraining order on the 27th of January, allowing Anyanwu to remain in office until the Supreme Court's final hearing. And so Anyanwu, in an exclusive interview with the Punch, confirmed his request, stating that he sought the expedited hearing of his commitment to the peace and progress of the PDP. So far, as you know, the appeal court has given their judgment on the issue, maintains a status quo, and the party has interpreted it as that means Ude Okoye, will remain the secretary, at least until the Supreme Court says something. Now, Anyanwu has taken it a step further. He has written to the Supreme Court, can we make this snappy? Can we make this very fast? Because as we're waiting for, the Supreme Court hearing, nothing is really going on because of the crisis. There's nobody to really make decisions because we're waiting to know who the Supreme Court will announce as the party's secretary at the end of the day. What do you think about this?
Well, the Supreme Court would have a final say. And I'm hoping that the PDP leadership will be responsible enough to accept the verdict of the Supreme Court. That's the highest court in the land. After that one, there's no other thing. But I know that after the resolving secretary wahala, another one will start. Just you will see that. The other
for
you don't. It's a wahala that will continue till 2027 and beyond. Just take it from me. Because the people that are causing this trouble, they already have layers and layers of another one to throw in. They already have it well packaged. So after this one, they bring another one. There are other one. The Magnum is still there, the acting chairman. They have not been able to resolve that one.
Yes.
That one is there. He's there as he did. The state ESCOs too. By now, it was extended. So the Anyanwu, this Okoye case, the speaker, the appeal court said the same thing. The man has now written to the Supreme Court wanting an expedited hearing on the issue. It will come. I know it will come. It will go either way. But wherever it goes, the struggle continues, the crisis continues for the PDP. So long the players in the party are not able to log them. And I say, when I say players, the leadership of the party for me should not be more than 5. You don't look at the numbers. The people that are scattering that party, destroying that party, making it, to be in this crisis, needless avoidable crisis, are not more than 5. And if those 5 can lock themselves up in a room and tell themselves the truth and commit to the future of the party, you see that all of these things will be resolved. But again, it is difficult to align the interests of these people I'm talking about. Their interests cannot be aligned because they have different interests. And what has happened is that on the other side, those ones are just helping them to further divide the party. So we'll wait to see. It's a matter in court. We shouldn't sound too judgmental on what would happen. But my mind tells me that after this one, another one will start again. It's just what it is for the PDP.
It's on page 2 of the Punch newspaper. Moving on, tax reform. Reps set for fresh debate, hold closed-door session. Now, after 4 months of a standoff between the House of Representatives and the presidency over the tax bill transmitted to the National Assembly by President Bola Tinubu, the latter appears to be showing readiness to debate the general principles of the proposed legislation. Recall that on September 3rd, 2024, President Bola Tinubu transmitted 4 tax reform bills to the National Assembly for consideration, following the recommendation of the Taiwo Oyedele-led Presidential Committee on Fiscal Policy and Tax Reform. The bill include the Nigeria Tax Bill 2024 and the Nigeria Revenue Service Establishment Bill, the Federal Inland Revenue Service Act, and the Nigeria Revenue Service and Joint Revenue Board Establishment Bill, which is supposed to create a tax tribunal and a tax ombudsman. Just to cut the long story short, Fuad, there will be fresh debate on this tax. Was it last week now? Why am I forgetting his name? The one who said that they need to debate taxes on inheritance. That you shouldn't take taxes on inheritance because because it's against Islamic principles and what have you. Well, they once again want to debate certain aspects of the bill, and the debate is basically they had advised that the president had ignored counsel to withdraw the bill first of all and allow for consideration, that they actively kept that bill open whilst they were deliberating, that they had advised to withdraw the bill completely, but the presidency refused to withdraw the bill and started tinkering with it just to ensure everyone was okay. And so fresh debate it would start or has started on the bill once again. We had assumed for that they had reached a resolution, with the 50-30-20 sharing formula for equality, population, and also derivation, but for some reason that is not enough.
I think they've been a lot of meetings, and I think at the Senate, they seem to have been able to reach a consensus at that level.
Yeah.
The senators somehow, I think, among themselves have been able to find a way to harmonize their different outlook to this particular bill. But I think the more problematic of the two houses when it comes to having the same thinking and thoughts on the bill as to be the House of Reps. For about 2-3 months, they suspended any conversation on the bill at all at the House of Reps. They suspended all conversations, all debates on it. So it would be nice to see when a renewed debate, resumed debate on the bill starts. We want to see what the positions will be. No matter what have happened after the suspension of deliberations on the debates at the House of Reps, there were still other backdoor deliberations going on. I'm sure there were a lot of lobbying and all of those things going on. People have been reached out to, more conversations would have been held, even though they have not been captured by the media. So my mind tells me that, look, we might not have the kind of fireworks we had before. We probably will see a calmer House of Reps discussing this bill. And don't be surprised that, look, the bill will be returned to the House for deliberation and in no time it could be passed. My mind tells me that the government would have done a lot of work, especially on the northern on the members of the House of Reps from the northern region, and it might not be as problematic as it was when it was first introduced into the House. That's what I'm saying.
All right, then we would see that particular report on page 22 of the Punch newspaper. Let me read the rest of the headlines that we have here. We have police arraign suspended Ogumonag, hunt accomplices. This is an update on the Ogumonag, the Orile, like Fuad said, of Orile 4. the one who assaulted the 73-year-old man. He's been arraigned, and they're looking for his accomplices. I believe the one who actually perpetrated the physical assault.
Because I was hoping to see the video of him in court. I wanted to see how he was going to be looking when they presented him in court. He said he took him to a magistrate court in for there. It would have been nice to see him in court, but somehow the police, I don't know whether it was secretly done. I've been trying to check whether there was a picture or a video somewhere of him being arraigned in court.
I don't see anything really. I don't
the man that bragged that he owned the entire police, it would have been nice to see him being docked. And I'm feeling very sober, so that we also share the video of him.
What? It's on page 4 and 5 of the Punch newspaper. We have gunmen kidnap 7 Ondo travelers, 27 suspects arrested. This is on page 4. Well, I guess I'll take kudos to our security operatives that they're on top of it. Sad that people have been kidnapped, but kudos to them that they've immediately gotten on top of it, and at least they're working certain suspects. So on page 4 of the Punch newspaper, we have on page 5, death toll rises to 15 in a boy community. Headsmen killing. Fuad, do you think we're at the point where we might need to embrace this ranching system, especially the one being, promulgated in the southwest?
On this boy killing, yeah. I don't know. Really. I got somebody sent a video to me.
Yeah.
Again, we're trying to check and verify the video with some of our colleagues who are on ground there in their point. That look, they had arrested someone who has said this was not X-Men. The killing still happened with X. I don't know. Like I said, still been trying to check. That look, it was some ESN members who had done this, and they just probably said it was X-Men. But I don't know. Like I said, there's still a lot to talk about really on this issue of a boy killing. Because again, a lot of misinformation, disinformation. My mind tells me that in different parts of the country now there are people who are just deliberately causing anarchy, just causing chaos really, to sell very dangerous narratives to further divide us as a people. But again, that's the story. We'll still have to make a follow-up on it to see what really happened in Ebonyi State. Killing so needless and unbelievable.
Very, very sad, I should say. It's on page 5 of the Punch newspaper. I believe that's everything we have for you from the Punch on national stories. The other one here is the DR Congo situation. The rebels clash, and for the death toll has actually reached 900 as it stands, unfortunately, in DRC.
African leader. You see, you people. African leader.
I'm not an African leader, Fuad. I'm equally as disappointed.
Are you not an African?
Yeah, but I'm not an African leader, and I'm disappointed and hurt that people are dying because people are selfish and because people want to mine resources that belong to the generality.
And people think a Paul Kagame, who had liberated his own people, the Tutsi, from a terrible genocide some decades ago, is involved in this. Just beats me. Your own people have suffered something similar some decades ago, where they have been slaughtered. On the issue of identity, ethnic divisions and what have you. And no matter what he says about, he's trying to protect his own country, he feels that about 2 million Hutus who had gone to the DRC were a threat to his own sovereignty and all of those things. These killings, what does he say about the thinking of some of these our leaders? They don't really care about the lives of the people. Over 900 now, see. The last time it was about 700, right?
Yes, but that toll continues to go up 900.
And to even know that women are deliberately committing suicide.
It's the same thing in Sudan too. It's the same in Sudan as well.
Same thing in Sudan.
Yeah.
And the two Sudan is not even getting better. In the main Sudan problem, in South Sudan, trouble.
Very, very unfortunate. We'll follow up on the story. The rest of the headlines, we have The Guardian, federal government, NARD, CMDs, others bicker over the state of the health sector's good rating. I think the writers give us an insight. Nigeria Medical Hub attracting patients from the US and UK, says the federal government. But Nigerian doctors earn less than cleaners abroad, says Abuad founder. Blames low salaries for mass exodus of practitioners. NARD urges the federal government to settle medical funds salary arrears. So far, the federal government is of the opinion that we're doing well in the medical sector, so much so that we're actually getting foreign patients, people from the US and the UK. But then the doctors are saying we
Which hospital?
Nigeria Medical Hub is attracting US and UK.
So what are the doctors saying?
They're earning less than cleaners, and that's why they're leaving the country. And they're even asking the federal government that, okay, even pay our salaries, our arrears, pay our money first before you even start thinking about
which of our facilities are foreigners coming to pay?
I don't know.
Huh?
I don't know for them now.
And the government thinks we are doing well with our medical sector.
Yeah.
Where UCH was without life for 82 days.
Yeah.
And they cannot even use those hospitals.
Yeah.
And we are doing well.
Yeah.
It's okay. It's fine.
Well, that's hence the bickering, because the federal government is deciding to take a position and that the doctors are not very comfortable with. What do you mean we're doing very well? We're not. The doctors are having a hard time. The facilities are borderline decayed, amongst other things. But the federal government is quite confident in the improvement that they believe has been made in the medical sector.
So Sage.
Yeah.
Beautiful. But what's the best way for the government to communicate this doing well to us as a people?
Show us proof.
Not proof. Leadership by example. They should
They should go there. Okay.
So let's see the president, the ministers, the senate president, everybody using our own hospitals.
Wow.
Go there for treatment. That's the best way to tell us that all is well in the medical sector. Every other thing is bioradar, it's just rubbish.
Oh, wow.
It's the best way to tell us that it's well, and also prove the doctors wrong, is for them go there and use this hospital. Let's say the governor of Lagos, say, for example, using Bagana General Hospital or the General Hospital in Odon, Lagos Island. Yes, let's see the speaker go there. The Senate president use the Gwagwalada General Hospital. When we begin to see that, let's see the president use the Maitama Hospital. When we see that, okay, we are doing well, true. But they cannot be leaving those hospitals, patronizing the ones abroad and tell us we are doing well. Well, how? The things we see or the things we don't see, or the ones we know or the ones we don't know. So even in Louf, go there and see the condition of things, the situation of things in Louf. And they told you that UCH was without life for 82 days, and somebody is telling us that they are doing well. Well, how? Where?
Oh, that's the opinion on things, unfortunately. Other headlines here very quickly. World Cancer Day, federal government to explore health insurance for cancer. First Lady donates 100 million naira to Niger tanker explosion victims. Visit IBB Abdusalami. It's on page 30 of The Guardian. For oil firm posts 386 billion naira profit amid uncertainty, security concerns. PFN declares national rebirth, vows to expose corrupt leaders. Senate threatens to arrest IGP, Custom CG, FIRS, NNPCL, CBN heads over audits as snubbed. They've been summoned to answer questions about their books, but they continue to jettison the summon, and so the Senate is threatening to have them all arrested if they don't come to answer questions about their books. It's on page 6.
What does it take for them to go there and answer questions? You see the problem? I told you when we weaken our institution.
When
we were warning the National Assembly not to be rubber stamp, you see now there are so many people, they are not even going there. And sometimes they summon people, they don't go with any document.
As if someone said they don't know, they were asking questions. Someone said I don't know that they were asking questions.
Nobody takes them serious. When we were saying it, that don't make yourself a rubber stamp assembly, so that people can take you serious. Be independent, do your job, strengthen that institution as a foundation for proper checks and balances in a democracy. They say we don't know what we are saying. Now they are at a point where they even summon people, they don't go. And when they go there and just go and drink tea and say they didn't come with documents, will come later.
But we have to go right. We'll take a break now, all right? We'll be back at 8:40 for Mainland Focus. That's where we open the phone line and hear from you. And please get your opinion on the plethora of stories that we have analyzed this morning. Thank you very much, Fuad, for your time. We appreciate you. In about 10 minutes, we'll be back for further discuss. This is the Sound of Lagos, Mainland 98.3 FM. My name is Sage Babalola.